All right, let's run out to Indianapolis and talk to Alora. That's probably the raddest name of anyone on this show ever. What's up, Alora?
Hey, what's up?
Is that hey, what's up? Is your name Alora, really?
Yes.
Dude, what a beautiful, beautiful name. That's awesome. All right, so what's up? How can I help?
So my first main question is, how do I get my husband to see that, being a stay-at-home mom isn't just an easy task of doing just simple things?
What's your secondary question?
How do I get him to treat me more like a wife and not just someone to communicate with when he wants sex?
That is the question. So anytime somebody asks me, how do I get my husband to see me as a stay-at-home mom or someone who's working part-time and we've got 3 kids or whatever, I'm going to walk through the temptations here and then we'll get to your question. Is that cool? I'm going to use this as a moment to teach a little bit. So one idea is you can just go out of town for a week and just let him stay at home and figure it out, right? That happened to me early on. We only had 1 kid. And by day 2, I didn't know what day it was. I didn't know what time it was. Everything was just everywhere. And there was Taco Bell wrappers growing out of the coffee table and stuff. It was just chaos. So that's the temptation number 1, right? Is I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. Temptation number 2 is I'm going to make you a minute by minute. I'm going to make you a list of my things I do every day, and we're going to compare lists. What you do at work versus what I do here, and we're going to do that. That's also a temptation. I don't think that's effective here. Because what you're talking about is honor and dignity and trust. It is not about strategy and calendar preparation, okay? And your second question is the most important one. And I think your first question about how do I convince my husband that what I'm doing is actually hard, man, that's a way distant second question to how do I get my husband to treat me like a human being?
Yeah.
When did that start?
It's been since our daughter was born. Before that, things were great, but after that, he just kind of, threw me to the side. If he wants sex, he'll communicate. Otherwise, I'll ask him what he wants for dinner, and I don't care. Or, he won't talk to me in person either. It's always through, Facebook Messenger or through text. There's no actual communication between us.
Okay, 2 important things here. Number 1, on one area, I don't fully believe you, okay? And know that I'm on your team, okay?
Yeah.
But it's very, very rare that somebody flips a switch like this. He's probably been a jerk for a long time. Is that fair or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before kid, before baby?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why'd you end up with him?
It was basically through being hurt, not having a dad growing up, and, I was on the verge of leaving him before our daughter was born, but when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I don't want my child to grow up without her dad like I did.
Your daughter is growing up without her dad. He just happens to live in the same house. Your daughter's also getting a ringside seat into how a terrible human being treats a woman. A woman that he stood before his friends and his family and God and said, I do forever. And I'm not surprising you, though, right? I mean, you know this, right?
Yeah.
So you said you grew up without a dad. Was growing up hard?
Yeah, I was adopted, so I was basically raised in a family with medically fragile kids. I was the only one normal, so I was kind of just left to myself most of my life.
How old are you?
24.
So we're going to have a real scary conversation. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I know you've thought this through, and my promise is I'm going to be honest, okay? This is the part when people listening to the show start yelling, just leave him. What are you doing? Why don't you just move out? Right?
Yeah.
And that's the moment when the 24-year-old mom, who's been a stay-at-home mom, who's been beaten down her entire life, says, yeah, but how do I eat? And how do I pay rent? Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
So my question for you is, where would you go?
Probably back to New Mexico where my family is.
Is that a safe place to go for a season to get your feet underneath you?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm still kind of beat down by that side of my family. I always have been because I wasn't the girly girl or the girl that went and got a degree in nursing like the rest of my family was, or.
You do have a degree in nursing, or you didn't get one?
I didn't. Both
Okay.
my sisters and my mom did.
Okay. All right. So you're taking a different path, and when you take a different path, it looks cool on Instagram, and B, in real life, taking your own path is hard, right? It's just harder, and that's cool. It's just more of a struggle. I'm going to go as far to say, based on what you're telling me about him, you are not in a safe position. Is that fair? Your home's safe?
Yeah. My home is safe, yes, other than, the
fact that you live with a grizzly bear who
constant
won't talk to you?
Yeah.
So let me flip this around. Have you sat down and talked to him and said, hey, what happened?
I've tried to, and he just says, basically that I'm making him sound like a monster.
Yes. He is a monster, Laura. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Defend him if he's worth defending.
No.
Are you done with this?
Yeah.
You sound done. And one of my policies on this show is I never tell somebody to get divorced unless they're at in physically or psychologically unsafe. So I can't make that call for you.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really, really important that you get with a professional counselor ASAP to do a couple of things. Number one, you have to learn how to stand up on your own 2 feet. And you can. And I think you've got those skills because you had to do that growing up in a house where you were an invisible kid. And also, it's scary, right? Especially being a single mom. Yeah. 2, you're going to have to get some wisdom and guidance on how to navigate this relationship, whether you try to save it again or you end up ending it. You're going to need somebody to walk alongside you, okay?
Okay.
I also know that stuff costs money, so I'm going to give you 3 months with my friends at BetterHelp for free, okay?
Okay.
But you got to promise me that you'll use it.
Yeah, I will.
And that might only be a bridge to get you to a counselor in town, okay? And but you got to promise that you're going to do it, and it can be weekly counseling that you can do via your phone. You can do on the computer, right, on Zoom or whatever, however you want to set it up. But you got to promise me that you'll do it. Will you?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Another thing I'm going to send you for your home, I'm going to send you Financial Peace University and the Every Dollar app for a year. Here's why I'm doing that. 2 things. Number 1, I've seen it happen over and over and over again that talking about budgets forces couples to sit at a table. Sitting at a table may not be safe for you, and that's okay if it's not. But talking about money means you have to talk about what are our values and what do we want to do and what are our dreams and what kind of house do we want to live in and what kind of home do we want to have and what kind of vacations do we want to go on. It forces you to have those conversations about values and goals and unification, or parts where you're like, yeah, I'm out. You have to come to the table on that. And my little end around here is also, it's going to give you some skills that you don't have about managing money, making money, how insurance and all that stuff works that you probably aren't up to skill on. But it's going to give you some insights into what life would be like if you end up going back to New Mexico for a season. Okay?
Okay.
So hang on the line. I'm going to send all that stuff to you. In all, I need you to hear me walk away with this. Number 1, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. It is. I don't blame any guy who just got married, who's working really hard, and he gets home, because this happened to me. I'd get home from work, and my wife would just hand me our kid. And she, by the way, she was working full time, so that just shows you what an ignorant moron I was. But she would just hand me the kid, and my first thought was, whoa, I just got home from work. You know how tired I am. That would be my first thought. That's just me being honest. And I learned in short order, oh, my fatigue is pretend fatigue compared to what she's working through, right? It's not real. Actually, it super was real, but we had to figure it out, right? So I'm not ever going to fault a guy for being like, well, what do you do all day? That's an honest question that if we don't ask that question, then what happens is you end up being quiet about it. You end up building up resentment, and that's stupid. And that is different. That's a different question too. Hey, what happens here all day is different than, I don't talk to my wife. I just talk to her on Facebook Messenger like a child. I only contact her when I want sex. I don't interact with my new baby. That has nothing to do with how do I convince my husband that I've got value, that I'm doing stuff during the day. I say this often on the show, and I'll end the call with this. Behavior is a language. So often we try to get people to talk to us, and they don't talk, or they don't have the communication, the ability to talk. We say, hey, will you sit down and talk to me? You sit down and talk to me. And really, through their actions, they've been loud and clear. And in a situation like this, I can ask, like, hey, I want to talk to that guy, see if your marriage is over. Or behavior is a language. He is being very clear. He has no interest in being married to her. He's interested in having someone to sleep with every once in a while. He's interested in having a live-in housekeeper. He is not interested in being married or having a wife, doing life with somebody. Behavior is a language. I hate this for you, Laura. We'll be with you every step of the way. Call anytime. Please reach out to my friends at BetterHelp. I got you for 3 months. Please reach out to them. You're going to need somebody in your corner because it's going to be a long, scary road. But you got this. Rachel, what's going on? How can we help?
So my husband and I have been married for 3 years. We have 2 little kids, and he has some really bad habits, for lack of a better word, that he has always had since he was probably a teenager, and things like that weren't really a problem when we were dating, things like that. But now they're really starting to affect his health and our family, and it's been bringing me a lot of anxiety about what our future is going to look like if they continue.
So what's going on? What are they?
So I guess the main one is he has really severe asthma, and he also smokes a lot, like a pack a day kind of, sometimes less, but around that. And it's actually, he's been admitted to the hospital twice in the last year for breathing-related issues.
Yikes.
For like 3+ days each time, and things like that. It just seems to be getting worse instead of better. Other things related to that too, but it just makes me worried. You know, with 2 little kids, he's only 32 and I'm 25, and I just feel like these are things we shouldn't be dealing with for a long time.
Sure.
These kinds of health issues.
So if I drill down here, there's something more than smoking?
I mean, it's all kinds of just unhealthy, not taking care of himself really well, unhealthy eating, unhealthy, lots of drinking, not like in a dangerous way or anything, but just a lot of those types of habits. Okay.
So when this is the powerlessness part of being married to somebody who doesn't take care of their body, right? You know that you can't make him eat well. You know that you can't make him quit smoking or stop drinking or stop, I don't know, whatever, playing video games till 2 a.m., whatever. You can only deal with you. So when you see these behaviors, what has your strategy been over the last year, over the last 2 years? How do you approach him with your concerns?
I've probably tried everything, including the things that don't help at all, like expressing to him how concerned it makes me and how I don't like our kids learning from those behaviors and watching him do these things, and a lot of probably guilt, which I'm sure is not the right approach, but
it's hard though, right? I mean, I'm not going to beat you up, of course, man. Those things are hard, and it's important for him to know how you feel on it. When you sit him down and say, hey, listen, I love you, and at this current trajectory, you're not going to be with us very long. And the time you are going to have with us is going to be less than, because you don't feel good. You don't feel healthy or whole. And when you don't feel healthy or whole, you're short with us. You snap at us. You end up in the hospital. Fill in the blank here. What's his response to you? How does he respond?
He always makes me feel really heard, and then nothing changes.
Okay.
He says, "I understand. I can see why you feel that way." Kind of all those things, but nothing. Or I know I need to do something different, but
okay,
doesn't change.
Have you told him that you're scared?
Yes.
That you're scared you're going to end up a single mom?
Yes. I think he has a lot of things from before I knew him, like a lot of childhood things that
Sure.
I think he probably doesn't really want to deal with, but I'm sure contribute to some of these choices.
Of course they do. Of course they do. So here's the part you're going to have to wrestle with. You're probably already there. I'll just ask you, is it gotten to a point where you believe he's choosing these behaviors that you know are going to kill him, that he's choosing this over you and over your kids?
I don't know if I want to say that he does it intentionally.
No, not intentionally, but
they're really good.
Yeah, not intentionally, but at the end of the day, there's one road to being with you guys for a long time, and then there's one road to a much shorter, less healthier life.
Then yes, I mean, I think he knows. I don't know if he really applies it to his life. Like, yes, this is going to shorten my life and everything. But I'm sure he's heard that from his doctors and from me,
Sure.
and he knows that. And they just don't change.
Yeah.
And I know I can't change him. I know that's what every good counselor will say.
Can I tell you, Rachel? I that's heartbreaking for me, and I'm sorry. Like, I wish there was a you just need to, and you can't. At the end of the day, if you've sat down and looked in the eye and said, "I'm scared to death that I'm going to lose you, and I'm scared to death that our little babies are going to be without you," and I'm asking you on behalf of us and on behalf of yourself, somebody who I love, I want you to love yourself as much as I love you. And he says, "Man, I hear you, baby." And then he goes outside and smokes, goes outside and has a few more drinks. I want you to know, I get that's heartbreaking. I hate that for you. I hate that for every spouse, every partner in the country whose husband or wife, girlfriend or boyfriend don't love them as much as they do, right? They don't love themselves as much as their partner does. I hate that for you. The best you can do in this situation is, number one, go see somebody yourself on how to process this, because this doesn't get better, it gets harder, okay? There is some hope that he begins to see you taking care of yourself, and it's not an immediate turnaround, but it becomes a long, slow turn, right? You start walking taller, you start doing the things that you can do, which are very limited, to take care of you and your kids. The second thing is you can make some declarations in your home. You're not going to be drunk in this house. You're not going to smoke inside this house and subject the kids to this stuff, right? I'm assuming that he's otherwise a great human being and he's a good dad and a good husband, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, and he respects any of the boundaries we set up. Like I've told
awesome.
him I don't want the kids to see him smoking, and he always goes outside and around the corner and
Sure.
away from them and stuff like that. So he tries to respect those things.
So so can I tell you, I've got an especially big heart for folks with big hearts who are trapped. You know what I mean? Who are just trapped.
Yeah.
I would love for you to tell him to give me a shout. I'd love to talk to him. Not in a mean or ugly way, but just to say, man, I get it, and I know. And there's healing if you want to make some major changes in your life. Until then, you're going to have to decide what your breaking point is, what your if-then point is. And I'll tell you that you know this, but I'll just repeat it. Blaming, criticizing, complaining, those things never solve connection level issues. And we're in the middle of what I would call, they're called diseases of despair. Have you heard that term?
Yes.
Like, we're experiencing that at unfathomable levels, particularly in men who are they're calling it long tail suicide, right? they are just intentionally not taking care of themselves over a long period of time. They know what they're doing is slowly taking them out of the ball game, and they're just not making changes because it's hard. It is hard, and I'm asking every guy, if that's you listening to this, go get the help and care that you need. I want you to hear Rachel's voice. I want you to hear a mom who loves her babies. I want you to hear a wife who loves her husband, and the husband's a good guy. He just can't get over this idea that the guy he sees in the mirror is worth sleeping all night. It's worth being able to run around and play with his kids without having to bend over and catch his breath. Is worth being healthy and living a long, long, healthy life. Rachel, I don't have a magic thing for you other than you got to take care of yourself, and you got to make sure you and your kids are safe. Taking care of yourself might be, how long do I keep loving this guy? Because I'm gonna get pulled underwater too. I hope you'll stay connected to him and love him the best that you know how. And I hope he will, be inspired by you, be inspired by that connection, and sometime, somehow, some way, come to the realization that he has value. It may be, maybe invite him to couples counseling. Maybe a third neutral party will help. Have him call my show. But this one doesn't always have a happy ending. It just doesn't. And I hate that for you. Oh, man. All right, let's go out to Birmingham, Alabama, and talk to the sun will come out tomorrow to talk to Annie. What's up, Annie?
Hi, John. How are you?
So good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. What's up?
Well, my question for you is, how can I talk with my husband about the way that he communicates with our children?
Ooh, tell me more.
He can be very demeaning at times and belittling, especially to my daughter. She will be 10 later this month. And I have noticed a change in her behavior recently, and she's come to me in confidence and told me that, it really hurts her feelings the way that he speaks with her.
Give me an example.
And so, say she's trying to make herself a sandwich, and she makes a mess. So instead of telling her, okay, it's time to clean up the mess, don't forget to put your dishes in the dishwasher, he just loses it. I can't believe you made this mess in the kitchen. Why does it take you so long to clean up afterward? Those kinds of things.
And he talks to you this way too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be calling me.
He does.
Yeah. When's enough? Put your kids aside for a second. When's enough for you?
I'm not sure.
Here's the deal. He is dramatically unhappy with his life. He doesn't like him. He doesn't like how he feels. He thought everything in his life was going to feel different, look different. And if your 10-year-old daughter made a sandwich, and unlike any 10-year-old on planet Earth, she immediately cleaned up every crumb, he would criticize how loud she chews. He would criticize the way she walked to the table. She would criticize, why did you use 2 pieces of ham instead of just 1 piece of ham? You know how expensive ham is? Because his criticism and grenade throwing is not about y'all. It's about him. And he's not on the phone. You are. What has it been like in the past when you've said, hey, stop talking to me like that? Or have you?
Usually he automatically becomes the victim, and he says things like, oh, well, I guess I'm just trash, or I guess I'm just not good enough, for you.
Man, that's a gaslighting, manipulative young man right there. So I'll ask you again, how long? How long have y'all been married?
18 years.
How long have you been doing this?
I would say the first 8 to 10 years were really good. And things kind of changed after we had our daughter. The focus shifted from just he and I to her.
Yeah, you know what that's called? It's called adulthood and maturity. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that's everybody's life. When you have kids, you have kid number 1, your marriage changes. It gets weird. Your money's different. Your sex life is different. Your communication is different. You got to rebuild something new. And if you don't, you go to shame or embarrassment or I don't like my life. And then you either withdraw from humanity and just drink beer and watch Netflix the rest of your life, or you just start attacking people in your life and making your discomfort and your dislike for who you have become in your own life. You make that everybody else's fault.
Well, how do I break that cycle for my children? I don't want them to continue to live in feeling like they're not good enough. I know how that feels, but I don't want them to continue into that.
You're probably going to have some conversations and take some actions that scare you to death. And probably the conversation starts with, I'm going to be real direct with you. And if you start saying things like, well, I guess I'm just the worst and I'm just trash, then you are opting out of this conversation. I need you to stay present with me. Don't whine. Don't immediately make yourself the drama victim. I want to solve this thing for our marriage and for our kids. And if he cannot hear that, then you tell him, we're going to have to talk about next steps until you go get some professional help because you're unable to have an adult conversation with your wife. But you have to be ready for that conversation because you don't like discomfort. And when he starts his woe is me, that wreaks havoc on your body, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Who else did that to you in your life?
My mom.
Yeah.
My parents were divorced when I was 6, and she left. And so my dad raised me.
Was it your job to make sure mom was okay?
It felt that way.
Yeah. Was it also your job to put a smiley face on because dad was sad a lot?
We had to make things okay, even if they weren't. That's how it felt.
That's not how it felt. That's how it was. So I'll just tell you and 6-year-old Annie, I'm sorry that you were responsible for that because that wasn't your job. Whether they stayed married or got divorced, it was your parents' job to take care of their emotions and their happiness and their grief and their heartbreak. That was never your job. And the same way, your 10-year-old daughter feels like she has to walk on eggshells with her dad and that her actions are being scrutinized under a microscope and she has to perform for him. That's not her job either. And you know this is why you called, but I'm going to say it out loud anyway. Your kids are desperate for an adult in their life who loves them to step in between this madness. And it may be the conversation prompt I gave you a minute ago, that may be too much. It may be a matter of you sitting down with your husband saying, you have done this to me for 10 years, and I'm watching you do this to your kids. This ends now. And you can go down the woe is me, oh, I'm just trash. And that's stupid, and that's a cowardly way to bow out of a hard conversation. You can do that. And if you walk away from this table, then you're choosing to walk away from this house for 30 days while we figure out what's next. Or you can stay engaged and we can figure this thing out. I think at this point, you are closer to the edge of this marriage than you want to say out loud. Is that true?
I felt that way for a while.
Yeah. Do you have somebody else?
No.
Okay.
No, I love my husband implicitly.
I know, but you also are coming around to understand that you don't deserve this and your kids don't deserve this. And your husband either A, lacks the tools. Every time he reaches in his toolkit, it's empty. And so he just goes to dragging the rest of you all down. In counseling, they call it, there's the one up position, which is the screaming and yelling and the how dare you. And there's the one down position, which is the, well, I guess that I'm just the worst ever. I guess we'll just go have that food. I just won't eat. That's fine. That's a power play too. And like you mentioned, usually it's moms who do that, but it happens with husbands too, especially increasingly. But you have to have a confrontation is what I'm telling you. Are you safe to do that? Will he hit you?
No, he's never been abusive, not physically.
Okay. Will he scream and cuss and yell at you?
He may.
Okay. I think you preface the conversation with, we're going to have a hard conversation, and if you scream and yell, you're out. I want you to go. Can you have an adult conversation with your adult wife? Role play that with me. If you were to say that to him, what would his response be? You've been with him 20 years. You know what he'll say.
What do you mean we need to have a conversation about what? I thought everything was fine.
It's not fine, and I need you to sit down and listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. And I don't want you to start defending yourself. I want you to finally listen to the words I'm going to say. Can you do that? What would he say?
He's such a wild card. I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes it would be, okay, I'll listen. And sometimes it would be, well, you know, I've been at work all day and I don't know what this nonsense is about.
Cool. I've been working too. If right now is not a good time, you tell me when it is, but it needs to be within 24 hours. And if he gets up and won't have the conversation, you can be very clear. Then we're going to have this with a therapist or we're going to have this with an attorney. You get to pick. And here's what we're doing. If you told me you were unsafe or that you were vulnerable, that he had a chance to hurt you, I would not recommend this. But here's what we're doing. We're shaking the tree here. He needs to know that his little pity party, woe is me, I'm just that game is over. You're not going to talk to my kids. You're not going to make my children fearful in their own home. Period. You've been doing it to me for 10 years. It ends now. And my hope is your resolve will be so clear that he'll stand up a little straighter and listen to you. Or when he starts his woe is me stuff, you say, nope, we're stopping that right now. Are you going to continue to listen? Or are you going to make yourself a victim in this conversation? Or, well, I guess I'm just trash. You're allowed to talk to yourself that way. I would never talk to somebody that way. That's a distraction. Let's get back to. And you may need to go sit with a professional counselor and practice this conversation. And you've gotten real quiet. Am I scaring you? Is this whole idea scaring you? Or are you feeling empowered?
I'm feeling like I need to find that strength. I don't know if I possess it, but I want to.
I think you do. I think you do. I also understand, and I've been there too, where I wanted somebody else in the room with us. I wanted a counselor there. I wanted a professional or a pastor. I wanted somebody in the room to make sure, A, I was saying things the right way, and B, making sure that the whole conversation stayed on the track, stayed on the rails. When I find myself unable to feel like I have the strength, I always write it down. That way I can go through multiple drafts and I can be very clear about what I want to say. I read it out loud, and I will sometimes have somebody else with me. Does that work for you?
I think that could be the difference between being able to do it and not.
Okay. I think that's very fair. I also am not a huge fan of the surprise attack. I like adults to act like adults.
Right.
And so you and me are going to a meeting. Well, I've been working all day. I'm tired. I'm going to some stupid meeting. Your marriage is at risk. I need you to come to this meeting with me. What? What do you mean my marriage is at risk? I thought everything's fine. It's not fine. I need you to come to this meeting. I've arranged childcare for our kids. It's at 6:00. I need you to be there. And we're not negotiating. We're not having multiple rounds of this. Whoa. I've said what I need to say. I'll say the rest of it at this meeting. Can you do that?
I think I can.
Okay. And if he wants to call, I'd love to talk to him.
Okay.
He probably won't, but I'd love to talk to him too. But I'll say this again, and I don't say this to pile on. I say this because you're the adult. Your daughter came to you and said, Mom, help me. And she's watching and experiencing your response in real time. And 6-year-old Annie is also asking you, how long are we going to do this? And I think it's time to set her free too. I think you have the strength. In fact, I know you do. Make a very clear plan and get somebody else that's going to be in the room with you. And maybe it's a couple that you'll trust. Maybe it's another man that you trust that's friends with your husband. It could be any number. You decide who that is. But your kids deserve peace in their own home, and you do too. And quite frankly, so does your husband. Call me back anytime. I'm really interested to see how this one plays out, so holler back at me after y'all have this meeting. We'll be thinking about you.